There are 5 project life cycles that you need to be aware of because your project can consist of any of these variations, and it's good to know as a project manager what the life of the project is going to be. Again, that's different than product life cycle because the product may live on beyond your project or maybe even lived on before you started your project. But a project life cycle can have a predictive life cycle, an iterative life cycle, incremental life cycle, adaptive, and could have some hybrid of any of these types. So let's talk about each individually. Predictive, well, that is what you might gather is very straight and narrow. It is what we predict. We are planning out and we're expecting to get to certain milestones throughout the project, and everything is known and planned as much as possible. I mean, obviously there is going to be a lot of variation as the project moves on based on how work progresses. Nevertheless, in a predictive one, we are trying to predict exactly how things are to proceed in each phase and in throughout the entire project. So this is obviously more for those type of projects like a spaceship or something where things need to be very predictive and we need to know exactly what to expect at every single stage, or even those projects that we've built before. If we're building a house and we built the same house multiple times, well then there is some expectations exactly how certain things are supposed to go at certain times, and we can plan accordingly. So that's predictive. Iterative means that, well, we're going to start with this, and then based on how things go, we're going to iterate. So most of the time, we have a great sense of what the scope or what the project work is to be, the effort that's going to take. Now that might change based on the people that we might need or the equipment that we find is necessary, based on how our estimates come in or how long we're needing them, and even the tools that are ended up needing to be used will vary. So those estimates of cost and time and resources may iterate or maybe fluctuate somewhat, and so with that information we'll loop back and say, okay, now we know, and we'll iterate. We'll adapt slightly in the terms of being able to repeat as much as necessary and to get us to the final goal. And this one probably is pretty common in terms of those type of projects where we don't know exactly what we want, but we know mostly what we want, and the little details of how much it's going to be and what it's going to cost and what it's going to entail will get progressively elaborated throughout the project compared to something that's more predictive. Now, incremental then, here we're trying to go through a series of things where we know in this increment that we are looking at what is to be done and how it is to be done, and then we're going to try to add on to that. So we're going to keep building. So maybe we start with one little box, and now we're going to add to it. So we add a second layer, or we add another piece to it. But incrementally, we're going to keep adding more and more pieces to our work based on how things are building upon each other. Another one is adaptive. Now this is more in the agile mindset where we have maybe a overall train of what we might think of where we're headed, but we really don't know for sure. So to get rid of that safe model that you might have heard of in agile project management, we're working more with the idea of where do we need to go. So as we work and we discover things start to be built out. We look at it and go, nope, do we need to go this way, that way, or even a whole new way and repeat? But we are moving as necessary along the path with, of course, an end goal out there somewhere saying this is where we're trying to be. Now, it might not be exactly this tree right here. It might be over here or at least somewhere in this forest because we know we want to get there, but exactly how and how we get over the obstacles along the way may definitely influence the path in which we progress to get to our final destination. So we're going to be adaptive based on the feedback and the cycle that provides us this information to be adaptive. And then the last one is hybrid. And hybrid, as you know, is, well, any combination thereof. So you don't have to be strictly having a life cycle that is one of these four. You can mix and match as necessary. You can even change if you started to be predictive and then you're finding, well, you know what, things are going much differently than we ever expected, and you might need to change how things progress. So in that case, you might go hybrid. So those are the 5 that you should know as you study for your PMP exam.